Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard.
Hey, folks. This is, of course, the MCU'S YouTube channel and podcast. No, as I put on the Rumble live stream destination, I am not at some random crack house that Tyrone Biggins referred to me. So Rumble, you know, that is not where I'm at. And I'm not on Tatooine either, Facebook, just to be clear. This live stream is occurring in multiple states, across multiple galaxies, and from the unknown to the afterlife, as is in the title. We're the MCU'S YouTube channel and podcast. Yes, I am at the Rich and the Famous version of the Tyrone Biggins, you know, referred to crack house, as I, you know, explained. With me, of course, Cyberneticshark, co-host, veteran content creator, YouTuber, and you know, veteran of massage foreheads or nothing, maybe. Special. But only at Rockville, Daytona Beach, Florida. But no, that's not true, folks. And Jason Leech, what's up, sir? How you doing?
My friend, so amazing to be here. Thank you.
Veteran of Star Wars, of from everything from start to scratch, and a team member over at the DJB Productions Network. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you. You have some good people over there, brother.
Yeah, man.
We are hopefully going to have Andres, the pop culture guy, on. Although, Andres, if you're not coming on, buddy, congratulations on your new job. Good job, sir. And we're hopefully Wrath of Khan, a.k.a. Jassim, my little brother, should be popping on if he's not lost in the pyramids of Giza. You know, you weren't here for that one, Jay.
No, but I appreciate that.
That was good. You missed out, brother, with All Mac. You son of a bitch. I'm sure you're out there, All Mac. Cyber knows what I'm talking about, though. You missed out, Jay. You could have saw me fall out.
Yeah.
On episode, what was that, Cyber 2? With the whole Wong thing or whatever the fuck it was. We all fell out.
It was either episode 2 or 1. I don't recall exactly, but it definitely was right at the beginning. It was right at the beginning of the episodes. Yeah.
No. Wasn't it towards wasn't it after Leech left?
Was he only on for episode 2?
That's right. Yeah. Because you were talking about it, Jeff. You told me I missed like the greatest part of the show.
Oh God, yeah.
I was jealous, man.
I almost fell out. It was at one point. I looked back at the video, Cyber. I was laughing like a fucking. I sounded like a fucking idiot. I was making noises and shit. Do you hear me? I mean, seriously, I was like, I couldn't even stop myself.
Nothing wrong with laughing. I wouldn't say you're an idiot.
It was all your fault. You son of a bitch when you started saying wang, all that shit and whatnot. You fucked me up, dude.
Oh, that's the price of comedy.
We had a really good heavy conversation, very deep, folks, about the pronunciation of Wong. Who I still don't know if it was fucking Wong or what. You tell me, Leech, is it Wong?
It's Wong, as far as
Wong.
I know.
Okay. Well, there we go. Either way, folks, we're here to do Ahsoka episode 5. I guess you could say it would be a Star Wars Extended Universe spin-off series from Rebels, right? Essentially, right, Leech?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is Shadow Warriors coming up episode 4, right? Where we essentially had Ahsoka, what we believe to be killed, or falling off that sort of cliff or whatever it was. I believe is it Taros, the planet that they're on and whatnot, where Ellsworth, and of course, Balin stole, and whatnot. Everybody are heading off to get to Thrawn and Ezra, essentially. Wonderful episode. Initial thoughts, as far as, and real quick, folks, we do appreciate all of you out there in the audience, whatnot. Of course, we appreciate all of you on all the platforms. Help Shark, help Andres get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna help you with that. In the meantime, enjoy the show. Shark, sir, Dave Filoni created the series. He essentially wrote the series, and he directed this episode. Did you feel like Jason Leech was just saying in the studio that maybe this was the best? I'm not gonna say exactly what he said. Maybe this is the best episode of the series.
So far, I would say that, yeah, I think this topped the last episode. I I definitely think it's better than the first 2 episodes. I definitely think it's equal with definitely the fight sequence in 3. But I think overall, yes, I would agree with Leech that, yeah, I definitely think this is the best episode so far of the season. Just the fact that we get a return of a great character that, got a really bum, marker on himself because of how bad the writing was. He redeemed himself. And overall, this is just a fantastic episode. The only thing I had thought that was kind of funny and weird was the very end of it, but it still was a cool concept. But yeah, most definitely, I think it's a fantastic episode.
Cyber, that is interesting you said that, because one of my questions was going to be, for my outline, was going to be right off the bat, what did you guys think of the concept? We'll get into that, right? I'm not going to go scene to scene. That's more Cyber's sort of, deal. We like to do the rotation of, the moderating. And he's better at breaking things down a little bit more from a structural standpoint, whereas I kind of like to sort of just jump across the episode in contrast. A lot of y'all know that. Leech, you know that. At that point, Leech, now your actual statement in the studio was you think this was what?
This was the best Star Wars from the since the Disney acquisition.
Okay. Now, did you make that statement before in the past about something else? I remember in the past that was from Star Wars.
Oh, I mean, Andor. Andor was absolutely fantastic, but I think this one, and I think I'm a little biased because I was such a Rebels fan. I'm curious, to get the interpretation from somebody who is not a Rebels fan or who has never seen it. But I thought it was absolutely fantastic, man. There was not a flaw in this episode, and this season has been amazing so far. Absolutely amazing.
No, and it's been a learning experience for me too, because folks, those of you who support the MCU's Bleeding Edge and support Shark and I, Andres, everyone that's been on the squad and whatnot and been a part of the team throughout the years knows, when I'm down a little bit, off and on and whatnot. I've been having a hard time lately. And I can honestly say that a lot of my, great friends in content creation have been the ones that have lifted me up. And that's all I'm going to put out there with that. Bottom line, I haven't been able to put the energy into this series at this point yet. And I don't know that I have the time to make up for it. So I could have maybe leveraged better, trying to pull in some more contrast, in terms of what you just said, Jason, as far as having that contrast of the different levels or layers or depths of knowledge across the Star Wars verse, or, in terms of experience as a fan, however you want to put it. At that point, we love contrast. It's fun. It's enjoyable. I think that you make a good point with that, Leech. And I think that Andor was definitely great. There he is.
Who we got?
Man.
Oh, shucks.
Andres.
Hey, what's up?
How was work, brother?
Work was very good. So yeah. Anyway, my allergies are acting me up, so I'm gonna keep my face off the grid.
That's okay.
Come on now.
Yeah, I know.
It can't be that bad. It always looks worse to the person who's, if you see in yourself, man, it's can't be that bad, brother.
No, he started last night and everything and whatnot too. At the end of the show, he started sneezing and whatnot and everything and whatnot. And we've had this happen before one other time, I think, one show. And so, basically what happens is She-Hulk is able to determine and locate his address. What he has, these allergy attacks, and he don't, She-Hulk's there probably, potentially.
Okay.
Or it could be a Purrgil.
Just give him that 10 or 11 care.
Yes. There you go. Exactly.
No, my caretaker is Catwoman, so let's make that very clear. So
wait, which rendition? So, which rendition of Catwoman?
Lee, I guess Lee Medvedev in the '66 movie.
Okay.
So she was my first.
Okay.
So yeah,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I don't know. If I had, it'd be tough to pick between Halle Berry and Michelle Pfeiffer in terms of the bedroom, but definitely not in the question of their performance acting as fucking Catwoman.
Yeah.
Either way, Andres, Jason was just saying that basically that, and Cyber would agree. Not, I believe what Jason said, but Cyber really enjoyed the episode. Love the concept of it, whatnot. I did too. We're going to talk about that later. Leech really enjoyed the series so far. He loved the episode. What did you think? I mean, you already seen episode 5?
Yeah.
Did you feel like maybe this was the best episode of the series?
Not exactly. Unfortunately didn't have a chance to watch it. So my thing right now is that I think it was a good episode. It can never beat the last episode because I had Ray Stevenson. So, but overall, it's still not a bad episode. It's a great episode. It gets everything done like pretty efficient, which is good. So, like, come on, like we got space wells, hyper jumping. So I think it's like that's a good end for episode 4. So I think they're in a good track to be a good series. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Now let me make sure I understand this correctly. Did you not see episode 5?
Yeah, the Space Warriors.
Oh, you did. Okay, you tripped me out for a minute. I thought we were getting a possible I don't want to name him a moment there for a minute, but it was just a miscommunication there. Sir, I apologize with your allergies and there being no lack of allergy medicine in the time cap dimension in year 27-7, apparently. Either way, I'm glad you enjoyed the Purrgil. I did too. They were definitely a great addition to the episode. Cyberneticshark, sir, what did you think of the opening? In terms of, I guess, how overall across the series, have you enjoyed how they've sort of had this dichotomy? Speaking of conceptualization or whatever, how they've sort of started off and sort of given us this sort of 2-minute deal. We get our little preview on Disney Plus where they show us a little bit of the first episode, but this would be the last episode before. Then we get sort of like a scene that's, a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. We get the intro, title deal or whatever, whatnot, which I think that I'd like to ask you guys later on about the music, the score, especially the end credits scene, or the end credits. I love that music, obviously they produced for that. But Cyber Sir, did you enjoy this way that they did it this episode? How they've done it, as it then delivered the whole episode after that. Do you like that concept itself? Have you enjoyed that through the series?
In general, I prefer when a movie like gets the subtitles right out of the way. And because then it leaves more for actually watching the show. I kind of don't like when they show a little segment and then do the credits and then come back. I feel that's kind of a waste of space. They should have it either happening at the beginning of the episode starting or anything like that. But overall, I mean, I don't think it's done badly. I think it's done really well. They cut it pretty good, and they have that great kind of intro with the Ahsoka thing, and it's got some good music, and it is usually pretty decently done. I think it's just not usually my flavor for things for shows how they start or how go. There's just some things I think that it takes away from some of the episode itself when it can get right in the episode that those subtitles or those titles are all done and we're moving on with the episode. It kind of sometimes too, like it leaves you on like a little bit of a cliffhanger sometimes when they do those little intro sequences too. And I always hate when you left like a episode on a cliffhanger or, the end of a season on a cliffhanger or something like that. That always just like, I'm like, really? You're going to leave me wondering for the next year what just happened. Right. And so I feel sometimes when they do that at the beginning of these, it's like they're getting into something really good, like either a fight sequence or some really good information, and they cut to those credits. Sometimes I feel like that kind of is like a cliffhanger. So I prefer it to get it right out of the way, the subtitles and the titles and stuff like that. But overall, I think how they are doing it in this is not too shabby.
Okay. Andres, what do you think, sir? Have you enjoyed it in this episode itself? Have you enjoyed sort of, again, this concept of how they presented the episode, especially in the initial part where they do sort of like, again, sort of give you a little bit of a taste of what happened, real quick recap of what happened in episode 4, for instance. Then we get sort of a quick, opening shot where, you know, you get 2 minutes of the episode. We get the title and, you know, intro, you know, of Ahsoka. Then we head into the episode. Have you enjoyed that so far?
Yeah, I mean, I usually skip those, so because I know what the previous episodes are. I mean, if you know, that kind of person that needs a recap, then that's there for you. So it's, you know, that's always there for the streaming service. I mean, some streaming service. I don't know, like other ones that use it. Like I don't know how Hulu or Amazon Prime does it. But I know, like, Netflix, like, depending on the show, like, they will give you a recap, something like that. But yeah, so, I don't, like, I know what happened last episode, so I saw it twice, so I didn't need a recap for this episode, so that's it.
Okay, Mr. Leech.
Yes, sir. Same question.
Directly on the whole split up of them giving you a dose of the first of the episode and then cutting into the title. Yeah, then getting in the episode. Do you dig that? Is that you feel that at all?
I like the recap. Hold on, I guess.
Oh, Andre, you're spreading shit from the time cut dimension, bro.
I know, right? So,
well, I'm in New Jersey. I'm gonna be fucking Jade over there.
You're just over the bridge, brother. I'm catching that here, man. But so anyway, I do like the idea of the recap. But I gotta agree with Cyber with the. Gosh, I'm sorry, guys.
You're fine.
But that 2-minute intro, I would much rather them have like a mini scroll, going up the screen to kind of, you know, catch people up or whatever, and then go.
Wow,
and then
3
go
in a
right
row.
into the episode. I'm sorry, and then go right into the episode. To kind of break it up like that, it's kind of different from the Star Wars trend, but I'm not like so hung up on it, but I think I would like it if they had an opening crawl as opposed to an opening scene and then go into the credits.
Uh-oh, folks, the Bleeding Edge guest panel is becoming a germ infested zone, apparently.
Yes, indeed.
We're gonna have to start Cyber, we're gonna have to start sending out waivers. I'll print them out tomorrow. Anyways, no, I like to scroll too. I do, but I think that it's got to be probably hard to figure out which series probably to use it. You know, effectively, right? You don't want. I mean, you know, if you want to extend this sort of Star Wars universe on forward, right? You got to pick and choose. But you know, I did ask Cyber earlier, Andres, you know, and then to you, Jason, with Filoni, you know, and Cyber, I'll if you give you an opportunity to, you know, also opine on this too, if you'd like to. This episode itself with Filoni, you know, creating the episode, writing that, you know, this episode, doing the writing, then directing this one as well. I believe this is the only one he does direct. I think either one or two.
Well, he did the first one also.
Okay, so it's been 2 so far.
Yeah.
Do you think that you like if you enjoyed Andres, did you like episode 5, considering, did you take into consideration that factor, that this was sort of Filoni's episode?
I mean, Leech brought up that it's not his first time, so it's not a big surprise. I think the big deal for this episode is just seeing Anakin and Ahsoka in the live action being together, you know, because like we saw them in the cartoons, so that was more of a big deal. And yeah, I mean, it's a big deal to see Dave Filoni probably, you know, directing that. For, you know, because if you're a big fan of the Clone Wars and, you know, the Rebels, timeline, so I think that was a much bigger deal. But yeah, you know, I think this really was, this episode was well directed by Filoni. I think this was very cinematic. I mean, that plane that Ahsoka was in was really cool, and you know, I mean, seeing Henning Tristan again was great. Like, it was really cool. Like, a blink glimpse of Darth Vader, like, in that 1 second was really cool.
Hold off on that. Let's. I'm going to go scene to scene, but give me a minute and we'll break down the entire, you know, whatever you want to call. I guess I'm not Leech. What would be the term for this sort of dimension or place that the Jedi go?
The world between worlds.
That is the world between worlds.
Yeah. But I honestly think that it was more of a dream sequence that she ended up in the world between worlds. Because in Rebels it was it was assumed it was destroyed, that nobody would ever be able to reach the world between worlds ever again. So that's why I think that when she was drowning, that she was in a dream state, and not that Anakin did not reach out to her, but it was just her vision that she was in the world between worlds, but really it was a dream state, I believe.
Okay. No, I like that. Instead of that question, Andre, so we could pose you that question based off of Leech saying there. What was your take on that? Would you agree with Jason that was sort of a dream? Or do you think that was sort of the world in between worlds?
It was definitely a dream because she was rescued by the water in that episode. So
Okay, all right, Cyber. What did you think when you finished the episode? Did you feel like that was the place? This world between them worlds, or did you think that you yourself instantly that's a dream?
Well, I didn't instantly think that it was a dream. But I definitely think that because she's a Jedi, I definitely think that because she fell in the water and she was knocked unconscious, I definitely think that she went to a higher plane than just dreaming. I think that there was an element there because of this, Jedi powers that kind of cocooned her and allowed her to go to that kind of mental state to survive.
Yeah, and I think you clarified what I was trying to say very well. So I think we're both in agreement there that it wasn't necessary. She didn't show up in the world between worlds, but there was that definite connection between Anakin and Ahsoka that was real.
It would be a Jedi thing. It would be something through the Force, some type of connection or bond, especially with her having been his Padawan.
Absolutely.
Right, Cyber? Would you agree? I mean, that would be that relationship itself.
Yeah, I definitely think that his Force ghost or his Force spirit, I think, came to her in her subconscious, is what happened. Kind of a deal. Like he sensed something happened to her, and it came to her to basically help her kind of survive, to help her kind of move on, so that she could survive, type of deal. It definitely was a lesson. It was a life lesson, and to kind of, like he said, finish her training. Because she was kind of, if you think about it, after you watch that dream sequence or that sequence of her supposedly being in that realm, she had a lot of doubts in herself. And that's what kind of led to her to kind of not continue with Anakin. And because she saw kind of like, I think a few things that maybe he did during the Clone Wars, maybe question her on like, what side is he really on? Showing some tendencies going towards Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. So I think that whole deal, that dream sequence, if you want to call it that, or that whatever that connection was really Anakin coming from the Spirit Force to help her move on and help her to survive.
Yeah, help her get past whatever it was that hang up, almost like in the Obi-Wan series when Vader pretty much let Obi-Wan know that it's not his fault. It was Anakin's fault. It was the dark side, all this other stuff. He didn't fail. Anakin failed. So I think it was kind of like one of those things that he kind of relieved her of her guilt for maybe not staying with the Jedi Order and keeping him on the right path. So yeah, I think it was like poetry, man. It was. I thought it was perfect.
Andres, would you like to opine, sir? Mr. Pop Culture Guy.
Sorry, I had to charge my phone. So sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. No, did you want to opine, sir, at all?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, essentially, I think that those are all good takes. Since you did bring it up, Andres, and you sort of already had mentioned the Darth Vader, sort of I guess evolution that goes through this sort of, if you want to call it dreamscape through the episode. this testing or sort of almost extended training. Remember, those of you, I haven't finished Rebels, but as Jason mentioned, I think earlier in the show or in the studio about, essentially people who have not watched Rebels or have watched Rebels, right? Or maybe have not watched Clone Wars or haven't watched Clone Wars. I watched Clone Wars, and now, of course, Ahsoka never really finished her training. With Anakin. Now, it was great seeing Hayden Christensen, without question. And I thought that his addition was awesome. It really was. It was a great addition. They redeemed him in a way, right? Like you said, Jason, they kind of did.
Yeah.
Did you feel like, before we even get into the Darth Vader deal, or any of that, did you feel like Anakin, like Christian Haydenson, it's himself as an actor playing the character Anakin, sort of got a chance to, almost in a Star Wars way, universe way, get some redemption, almost a la like Jar Jar, Binks, sort of in Mandalorian,
I don't know about all that.
No. Jar Jar Binks did not redeem himself. First off, that creature allowed the whole galaxy to give Palpatine and the Republic all the power, which led them their downfall because of Jar Jar Binks' influence in Episode 2 of the Attack of the Clones.
You played with all on Jar Jar? Come on now.
He's the reason that the whole system gets crazy. You think about it.
That's true.
If you've seen Obi-Wan, Hayden Christensen there was great. So this was like another continuation of, he is great. But it was cool because, if you haven't seen Clone Wars specifically, it was cool to see a different side of Anakin. Like, what if Anakin was the master, and then someone was his apprentice? It was kind of cool to see that in this episode. If you didn't see the Clone Wars, and you didn't know about the whole Ahsoka and Anakin relationship, so this was kind of like fresh and very unique to see in a live action Star Wars film. If you did not have any knowledge of the Star Wars universe, so I think it was well done. So and he had great chemistry with the young actress, Ahsoka. That was a great casting. And she was played by the actress that was in Barbie, who was like the daughter. So and she
was also Baby Gamora in Endgame.
That's right.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. She's got a bright future, man. She's good. She's gonna be huge.
I know. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's crazy. Like I didn't recognize her because the alien makeup. I was like, who is she? And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So.
Well, we had a couple of we had some people come from Mandalorian over from the Mandalorian in this episode, right? We saw Mon Mothma again.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. But
there was a name drop for Leia.
Yes,
General
that's right.
Organa. Yeah.
Chopper was back, right? We had Chopper come back.
Oh yeah.
No, and just to basically set up the premise, basically coming off episode 4, the whole premise, I guess, would have been that basically when Ahsoka sort of lost her saber duel to Balin, Sabine agreed to go with Ellsworth, a la Squad, right? To go retrieve Thrawn upon the premise of recovering Ezra or being able to be together with Ezra. Now at that point, we start off the episode, and that's sort of like besides the sort of I guess scenes where we get that are really good with Ahsoka and with Anakin, we also get the sort of also duality of having essentially everybody else looking for Sabine, that's on, I guess you could say, the good side versus the bad side. We don't get very much to work, in terms of, who, as far as Balin goes, as far as, Shinhati, right? Ellsworth. They're not really, we don't get much of that.
Yeah. They
It's
weren't
really
even in the episode, right?
No, they were not.
Yeah.
No. No, it's all really focused very inwardly. And now, Andres, did you like the way that they paired up? Sort of, I guess, Sindula, for instance, and having Jason in there, and having her with Juan, right? Sort of pairing them up, kind of changing the chemistry of some of the different characters in the show, actresses sort of coming together, changing things up. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, sure. Mr. H, we call him for the android. I think you were saying. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what I call him.
Is that what we're calling him now, Mr. H?
Yeah, I mean, talk to Cyber. We were saying that all last podcast, last panel.
What's up there? What's up, Rear at the Con?
Hey, I just got home from work. What's up, guys?
What's up, brother? What's going on with your camera, man?
Dude, I'm still changing to my PJs right now.
Oh, yo, turn your camera on right now.
I was about to say you should. I accidentally bought the wrong underwear at Walmart the other day, and I actually was going to come on the show in my old school bikini style underwear. I was like, maybe I should just start the show like that.
Dude, I just took off my tie. All right.
Okay, brother.
Dude, talk slower. Talk slower.
We don't need to hear. We don't need to hear about your all your undressing stuff there, Mr.
I do.
Oh my god.
Hey, well, don't you guys share the same apartment anyway, or the same condo, or whatever? I
got evicted.
I moved out. See, I got this broad with me now.
Wait, why'd you evict me, bro?
Leech, you're getting down with underage alien chicks now? What's up, dude? I thought I was the only one that did that.
That's how I roll.
Well, check out the episode I was on a Trucker's Delight where I talked about how there's no fucking fuck age in space. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Man.
That's right. Andres, I apologize, sir. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say hello to Mr. Rathacon over here, my little brother, Jassim. Thank you for joining us, Jassim.
Yes, thanks for inviting me, Jeff. Man, fucking hate coming home from traffic, man.
Well, we all love it except you, brother.
You like traffic?
No, I don't like traffic, brother.
Yeah.
But then again, I live in Silicon Valley, so
yeah.
There you go. I'm over here in Bumfuck, Egypt, Southwest Florida. Andres, you watch Clone Wars?
Right? Not much.
Not much.
But
okay, but you got into it a little bit. So basically, as I was asking you, did you? I guess maybe you could change my question up a little bit. Did you enjoy sort of? I guess what way they gave us to work along with Ahsoka and Anakin as far as them finding Sabine. Do you feel like did it do anything or did it make any difference to you that they sort of kind of removed the bad guys or the villains of the series and sort of focused inwards, sort of on Ahsoka herself? It is her show, as for all, right? Was she about do?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always the point of the series. We always get like a center kind of episode of the main character or someone else. Like, actually, you think about it, like last night when you and I did the Monday report, we did Loki in episode 3. Like, that episode was all about Sylvie a little bit. So it's kind of like that, like for this episode. Like, this episode was like entirely about Ahsoka, what she's going through, like what's her her mode and her mood right now at this point in the series. So it makes a lot of sense to kind of see if she's like struggling and like how she overcomes it, which she does in this episode. And so she's just following the flow, I would say, as a Jedi master. So and I think it was all worth it because like we did move major plot points, like the fact that she came out and like figured out like, okay, I can find them by going into these space wells. So like, to a hyperdrive. So like, okay, so we got that done. And then of course, I'm kind of curious, where the other people will go because, it's kind of like we're in very like unwanted territory right now because like I don't know where this story's gonna go, you know, and I haven't seen episode 6, so I'm very curious where we're going. So far good.
I apologize, Mr. Rathacon, sir. You just joined in late. What would you say? You know, we sort of have already bantered about, and you know, obviously you saw episode 4. You know how things finished off. You know, where we left off, sort of, you know, as far as, you know, Sabine taking off, with Balin and with Morgan Ellsworth. At this point, you know, we sort of really, we had the insertion of some characters in here. You know, we got a live action version of Clone Wars, right? Essentially, right? You know, which was awesome to see, and we're going to talk about that without question. You know, we had Captain Rex was back, right? It was very interesting. I mean, it was an interesting, you know, Filoni sort of masterpiece episode. We thought, at least I thought. And what were your thoughts, sir? I mean, overall, just to give you a chance to, you know, take a stab at it, the episode itself, did you feel like this was a standout one for you? Was this like a, you know, a game changer? Was this the best one of the series so far?
No, I did not think it was the best. I actually found episode 4 to be more entertaining than episode 5, mainly because there was just more action that I was looking forward to. A lot of the ways that they display the whole Clone Wars like scenes, I don't know. The thing that really ticked me off was like they're just running to like a desert storm or something. Like, what is the battle? Like, nothing is clear.
Yeah,
it does not look like Geonosis.
Cloudy, smoky.
Yeah,
with you, I follow you.
I don't know why Dave Filoni did that. Like, maybe like a lot of people didn't mind it, but for me, it bothered me.
I think maybe that whole cinematography there was that the focus was on Anakin and Ahsoka, as opposed to the fact that it was the middle of the Clone Wars and all this stuff. So I hear what you're saying. I just think I kind of caught it a different way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, that's most definitely. And of course, now the episode ended up being 49 minutes and 50 seconds long. So we got about a 50-minute episode, similar to the rest of the episodes we got. Of course, you know, Sabine, Cyber, I'm sure you're very happy. We didn't have to deal with Sabine this week, right? I'm sure her hair will be pink in episode 6 or some shit. Almac's here. What a surprise. Figured you pop up, Almac. Almac, you also have allergies tonight, buddy? Anyways, Cyberneticshark, sir. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it. I mean, now you still haven't gotten into the Clone Wars at all, right? Okay. So, well, we saw the scenes. Now, of course, we get the pairing of Anakin at the end of episode 4, and we get this sort of, I guess you could call it almost flashback / type deal to, in whatever you want to call it, whether it's the dreamscape or through some sort of force, connection, ghost type deal, or whether it is, the world in between worlds. We end up, essentially having Anakin and Ahsoka having this wonderful back and forth where he sort of retrains her. He's calling her Snips, which is from, of course, the Clone Wars. And was her nickname for her, which I really loved hearing that. And, we sort of, we start off with him using his Jedi and sort of dueling with her in a sparring way. And it's actually white, right? To start off with. Now, as we progress into the actual, like, sort of almost flashback scape scenes, not having watched Clone Wars, like Jason had mentioned earlier about Rebels, what was it like for you seeing the like, for instance, the battles that they actually were in together and the dialogue they were having together throughout those dialogues, where we end up with sort of like the siege of, Mandalore, right? Did you enjoy all that? I mean, did you not? I mean, again, you wouldn't. It'd be hard for me to say without Clone Wars. How did it take in? But did you enjoy it? Did you get? What did you take from it?
Well, yeah, I have not watched any of the animated series, So I have not seen any of that. I haven't read any of the books that have to do with any of this, even Thrawn and stuff like that. I've heard of the names. I know about the situations, but I've never read or watched anything about it. So, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I love that they, came right into it and, started battling. That was so super cool watching, Hayden Christensen use that, the knowledge he learned from the 2 films in the prequels trilogy, and also then probably retraining to do it in this series. It was great to see him fighting again, because this time it even looked smoother for him. It looked amazing. And both him and Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson, both looked really well doing their choreographing. So I thought it was really fun and enjoyable. Going to like the Clone Wars, seeing her as a kid, I did not know. I did not realize that when the Clone Wars was going on, Ahsoka was a teen. I did not know that. I thought she was already an adult. So that was something I did not know. So when she was a teen in that, which, by the way, that girl that played her as a teen was fantastic.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed her. She and her lightsaber work was really great too. Her choreographing was fantastic. Like, it looked like what Rosario Dawson was doing. I thought it was really impressive. That whole sequence was so super cool too. I like seeing kind of the backstory of kind of what happened between the Clone Wars with her and Anakin. I liked the wisdom that Anakin kept trying to give her to kind of get her to, realize what she needs to learn. And like their whole battle sequence was just so well done. And I like how they, as he becomes kind of like more evil further down the road in this dreamscape sequence, and he turns to the red lightsaber, how much more aggressive and how much better he is at wielding the lightsaber too. I like that kind of that transition for him through that. And I thought it just showed, and it proved how amazing Ahsoka is as a fighter too as well. And I appreciate that they showed the contrast. They showed that, yes, Ahsoka was trained by Anakin. She's not as strong as him, but still she has learned a lot of great things from his battling. So, I mean, I think it's amazing what they did. That whole sequence was so enjoyable and awesome. I wish it had lasted longer than it did. I actually would have liked if it had gone on for like another 10 or 15 minutes in the episode. That would have been really enjoyable.
Sure, they could have done a whole film of it, as far as I'm concerned. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you, again, depending on what you've watched or haven't watched, I mean, I thought it was just the concept itself, as you brought up right at the beginning, Cyber, that I wrote down in my outline is one of my main questions of the episode was just this concept. And I'll actually just ask you guys directly about the concept itself of this, sort of way that Filoni went with pairing up Anakin and Ahsoka together. But what do you think there, Mr. Wrath of Khan? This should be real Wrath of Khan. I forgot, not fake Wrath of Khan. Or 82 Wrath of Khan, or 80. I'm sorry. What do you think? Now you watch Clone Wars, right? You see Rebels. What was it like for you? I loved it. I immediately was like, holy shit, Clone Wars in live action? Like, it never occurred to me for my life that they would actually do that in the series.
Jeff, firstly, if you've seen Clone Wars, the quality of how they displayed the live action scenes in episode 5 are trash.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't like it. I thought
I thought you were going to give me some credit.
I thought you were going to say something that was like really profound or really good or like really like mashed or whatever. You really throw me off at times. I'm like, then you're like, it fucking sucked.
Okay, I'll tell you why. Because when you look at all these scenes, you're like this is what's going on in my head. I'm like, wait, is this the second battle of Geonosis? Or is this Teth? Which scene is it? Because I'm trying to figure out which scene or which episode from the Clone Wars, or even the Clone Wars movie, did these live action scenes replicate. And through my research, it did not replicate any Clone Wars scenes with Ahsoka at all. These are entirely new, and just from that, it just makes the storyline a little bit whack. it made it less enjoyable.
But
Is there any rebuttals here?
But wouldn't you think that if you saw like a scene for scene interpretation of, you know, animation to live action, that it would kind of be
Worse.
I don't know. Yeah, like I thought that.
But they made it very worse. Okay, like Mandalorian, spotless. Andor, spotless. This is like what?
Wow.
Wait, you think it was actually good?
I thought I knew you.
Dude. Wait, you actually thought those were good?
Absolutely. But I'll tell you why I thought it was good. Not for the action scenes, but for the interaction between Anakin and Ahsoka. And if you watch it again, Hayden Christensen definitely emulated Anakin from the Clone Wars.
I give credit for that.
Perfectly. And even the girl who's playing Ahsoka, I thought was amazing. So I think that it was the fact that it was a new battle, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Siege of Mandalore happened during Rebels. Correct?
Oh, they did show Siege of Mandalore. Oh yeah, they did. But it's like,
and you had Maul's Mandalorians,
the Mandalorians,
which I thought was badass to see in like live action. You know, so I'm sorry you didn't get as much out of it.
I like the parts where like she's like older, replicating like the Siege of Mandalore. I like those, but like younger ones, like, you know, you're in the desert. There's a lot of like storm clouds, or the scene where like a bunch of clones are just injured. I'm just like, where have I seen these scenes before? Like, I would prefer if they like try to replicate the older scenes that we saw in Clone Wars than like create something entirely new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got some heated fucking shit going on here, folks.
Am I gonna join you? Ready come in the ring?
And by the way, Mac, just to be clear, as I've always told you before in the past, I don't care what day it is, what week it is, or what show it is. You can talk shit all day. You ain't gonna top me, buddy. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's Giza or the crack house with Tyrone, right? You ain't got either way, thank you, Andres. I appreciate you letting Mac know what's going on. I'm not moderate. I'm not. It's not actually Jar Jar makes his ghost, Force Ghost through me. Moderating the show tonight. Leech, sir. What'd you think? I mean, obviously, hold on. I'm sorry, Andres. I apologize. Mr. Leech is not clear how he feels about DC. Andres, did you enjoy the whole even from the beginning through the, I guess, like the Clone Wars battles? Before we get to the sort of like the end of the part where we do get the sort of Darth Vader flip deal, do you like that sort of switch from like the animated to live action?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I think my favorite moment in the flashback was the injured Clone Wars soldier holding Ahsoka's hand. That was really good. That was like my favorite moment of those flashbacks. I'm not familiar with the sequences that they took. I understand a bit more of the second one you guys were talking about. But yeah, I think overall, I guess for me, I think it was kind of like maybe you can maybe change this and put it in the Jedi Temple. Like, I think that could have been a better setting, like, to understand what was going on when we were dealing with those two as characters. Because I think with those flashbacks, it was kind of confusing, like why you needed in these two different timelines. It's like, oh my god, oh yeah, Mike, you're funny. And then like we were trying to get to the point of this episode, so I don't know. Like I think overall the flashbacks were okay. I thought the second one was better than the first one, but yeah, it did its job. So.
Well, I mean, hey, they did a great job. The progression of aging her, right? At least, Jassim, you have to agree, right? That was interesting, watching her progress in age and jump, and how Filoni sort of, had her at that one point start from Ahsoka real time, go back to basically baby or like
Not baby, like
young Gamora, not baby like motherfucker, young Gamora, right to essentially, I guess 2 or 3 years into Clone Wars, right, Ahsoka, right, where she's above space age for Leech, there you go. All that, see, you got me, bruh. And then we go back to Ahsoka in real time, and we get sort of, that really good lightsaber battle, duel right there, where he's not training her anymore. Now it's literally him, we get some really great, profound lines that weren't like Andor-esque. They were shorter, but were more Star Wars-esque, along the lines of like, essentially, Ahsoka, is that going to, be what I'm going to teach my Padawan, only to be a soldier, right?
That is a new lesson.
Very, very, introspective, and like self-reflective and whatnot, in a way. I really enjoyed it. And then, Anakin, flat out telling her, I gave you a choice, live or die, right? It was a really great ride. And something where I think that, we'll get into the concept now, I guess, if you want to say, whether you like it or hate it, the concept itself was great. And watching her jump in age, right? From, pedophile level to, no fuck laws in space level to like, girl woman level Ahsoka, where she's like 49 years old or whatever. I forget whatever alien race she is. No, but the concept was great, right? Filoni did a great job with it. And did you enjoy the concept itself?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Okay. I will say though that if you look at what is it, Star Wars Visions, like you do see that through like a few episodes. Like they do it a lot more smoothly, I will say, than what Dave Filoni did here with Ahsoka.
I'm going to go back to you. I just want to get a yes or no on this. I should have been more, specific about it, whatnot. But no, I want to watch Visions as well. Cyberneticshark, sir, did you enjoy the concept itself? I know you pretty much did, right? I mean, you liked it, right? You thought it was pretty cool?
Yes.
All right, Andres, sir, would you also be in agreement that it was love it or hate it, at least was at least a dope concept, the way the Filoni handled that?
Somewhat.
Somewhat?
Yeah, this was...
Okay, I'll go back to you. Leech, I already know you loved it since you love, I'm not going to say, all I already pulled it out, carried it out, but you loved it, right?
Absolutely. And I particularly love the cinematography where it was going from Anakin with his blue lightsaber to Vader with his red lightsaber.
The blue, yes, not
Dude,
white.
I got chills, man. It was freaking awesome. And especially when Anakin was coming towards Ahsoka, ready to attack her in the world between worlds, or her dream sequence, whatever you're going to call it. And it flashed where he was Vader again, and then he had the Sith eyes, and when they're dueling, what's her name? So Ahsoka was like all in Anakin's face, and her eyes turned Sith. Did you guys pick that up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I saw was like friggin' awesome, because she's still kind of in it, like not in the middle, but she's just anti-Jedi at this point. And I think she's very easily going to slip to the dark side if it happens. And I think she realized it there, and I think that's part of her finishing her training, is that she knows where the limits are between the light and the dark. And okay, she backs off and says, I choose to live, and threw the lightsaber away. So, yeah, I thought it was huge. I thought it was huge, and I think that moving forward in the series, and I'm convinced right now there's going to be a second season, is that she's going to be more powerful than she ever has been, having gone through this, out of life experience.
Well, I mean, it'll be on Kathleen Kennedy, right? She'll be the shot caller on that, right?
Oh
No,
man, I tell you what,
I was joking.
If Dave Filoni took over, if they fired Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni took over, I would be the happiest dude in the world.
I think Kathleen Kennedy should play the next Catwoman.
There you
right?
go. There you go.
There you go.
But I would not. Yeah, I wouldn't be on board with the whole hotness thing. She's a little over the hill.
Oh, Mac, are you freaking like? Are you actually on crack tonight? Like, what's going on? Are you with Tyrone? Just wondering real quick. But no, Leech, just real quick, and then I'll bounce over to Jasmine. I'll go back around to Cyber and to Andres.
Yeah.
The concept itself and whatnot, as far as the concept it goes. Now I'm going to go get past this, and we're going to get into the actual, episode itself. As far as a little bit that we do have, where we do have, Sindula, Mon Mothma, the fleet comes, right? We have, we have Ahsoka being recovered, right? And we sort of get, the really, really dope Purrgil scenes, which are just cinematically beautiful.
Absolutely.
And of course, just, we'll get into that. I mean, the seeing them spatially on screen versus the size of the fleet was immaculate to me. But the concept itself that Filoni injected into the episode, I thought was a really great contrast in opposition to Mr. Khan in terms of the heavy action we got in episode 4 that was really very like, black and white, good versus evil, sort of like Star Wars. Great contrast then to reflect over and flip over to more of an intellectual, not contextual, but sort of like, I don't know how to even describe it. What would you describe it? Type episode where, we get an episode where it's really like what would you call it? I mean, this concept itself that we get where we have this Ahsoka have this. What is this? What would you call this?
Who are you asking?
You, Mr. Leech.
Oh,
me. What would you call it? What would you call this sort of? This is not redemption. I mean, is this her
not
literally,
redemption, but maybe realization, maybe resentment and forgiveness, possibly.
Okay, well put. Of course, because of her leaving the order and everything and whatnot.
Yeah, and the whole reason she left the order was basically because they didn't believe her. That she was sabotaged and she was left to not be the victim, be the perpetrator of these events. But so her maybe she left at the right time, that she didn't finish her training because maybe Anakin could have pulled her to the dark side. And she would be Vader's apprentice as opposed to Anakin's, So yeah, maybe things are all kind of falling into place the way they should be.
Okay, Mr. The Real Khan, if you'd like to expound, sir, as to why you enjoyed the concept itself, how it played out overall, right? Up until the point where Ahsoka actually comes out of the water in real time. And is sort of like, recovered after she's, sort of pulled up by Anakin and, Sindula's crew, takes her back to real time. And we get into that point. What did you enjoy about the concept? That was good. That wasn't, shitty like the, the Clone Wars stuff that was not very good.
The thing that I liked is that the concept that I like is only like the theme part, like as Leech says, where he said like regret and stuff like that. Am I right, Leech?
Yeah.
So you saw like the whole like all these different stories from the perspective Ahsoka has regret on the past.
Yeah, a lot of emotions going on. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I agree with you there. I will add that when Ahsoka left the Order, like Clone Wars season 5, it's like, she had to like deal with the whole world on her own and figure everything out. I think that at this point where it's like you already beat the Imperials, now it's like, what do you do next? Rebuild the Order? She feels unprepared to rebuild the Order. That's probably why she chose not to train Sabine. And going through all these life experiences, maybe it gives her the confidence to like be more serious of training Sabine, have faith in her, and just have faith in herself to rebuild the Jedi Order that she was once raised in. That's what I see.
Okay. Shark, sir. What about the concept itself? Overall, for you, really, did you enjoy of the that whole sort of dichotomy that we get between the two characters, the Padawan, right? Her, the Ahsoka's sort of retraining, in the Anakin scenes. What did you enjoy about the concept?
I mean, overall, I just like the whole concept because, one, you get to see Hayden Christensen again portray Anakin Skywalker. Two, you get to kind of get finally a kind of an idea of what Anakin and Ahsoka's relationship was as a Padawan and a Jedi Master, and also you kind of get a gist of a little bit more of what was going on during the Clone War times, during when she was, learning to become a Jedi, learning about the Jedi ways and stuff like that. So the whole concept was really fun because it gave you a little bit of a history lesson along with having action and having some depth to it. So the whole concept was just a really great concept that Dave Filoni did really good with.
Okay. Andres, you mentioned the Vader part, right? That stood out to you. What, what expound on that? Did you really enjoyed that part? That really did something for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good image. Like, it was a really good image in the like quick shot. I really like the idea when, how you say it, when Ahsoka has to fight Anakin in the dream. Like, it was cool because she has to like overcome her rage and anger to balance that into empathy because she was almost there to the dark side during the dream. So, because like she had those moments of anger and rage during her youth. So I kind of like that we went back to see that and then see it again as an adult. So it was kind of cool. A juxtaposition to see those in different ages in Ahsoka's life. So and then see her just easily like not consumed by the dark side, by Anakin, and so that's kind of neat. So I think that was the point of the story, just her like controlling her emotions now, this moment and like, accept that, things had happened, and like there's nothing else you can change, yes, she didn't train, but like she still is a Jedi, it's just, it doesn't matter if you're properly trained or not, like we've seen before, like Luke Skywalker isn't a properly trained Jedi, and he helped save the galaxy in the trilogy. So I think that's something we always forget in the Star Wars universe. So I think that's one thing I like about the concept of this episode.
Andres, I will say that it's interesting that even like throughout Rebels, it's like Ahsoka had trouble believing that Vader was Anakin. And I think like how she saw like Vader turn to Anakin, it's kind of like the moment where like she truly accepts that.
Yeah, in this episode, I think, right? Because like, because because this series has been addressing that, right? Like, and she kind of always kind of look back, kind of like look back at her back a little bit, and like just like kind of avoid the conversation about her master. Like last episode, Ray Stevenson's character, was kind of taunting her about like if you knew what Anakin became, So like I like how this episode came forward to that. It's like her accepting that her master was the bad guy, So
yeah,
and she she didn't. I mean, she wasn't the reason that got her to.
Actually, I think she is.
I thought that was a very loaded question. I thought that was a very loaded statement for Balin to say that to her, right? You know, Anakin, Balin knows that Anakin became Vader, right?
Yes.
So, right, like, you know, for him to say that to her, it was almost like, you know, like, is this a taunt, right? Or like, which Anakin are we talking about? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, that just to decide. I remember, you know, in episode 4, unfortunately, I was locked out of my hotel room, you know, because I was unfortunately lured into a threesome randomly, just dragged into one. I didn't mean to, you know, and was forced into it.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
I know, it was very unfortunate. But either way, I just wanted to point out,
folks, he's lying. He was locked out from his room for the last 2 hours. So
hey, it's not my fault. I've never been to a damn hotel in my entire life that closes their freaking front, you know, desk or whatever, or lobby at 10 o'clock. Like, I never heard that shit in my life. So, it's not, believe me, I lost 3 pounds just like walking, circling around the fucking building that entire time.
I mean, my malls are closing soon, like early now. Like they're now closing at 8. So
yeah, what's up with that?
It was because of COVID, but it seems like they
never got out of it, and it never went back.
Yeah, I guess they like that time. I mean, it makes sense because like 8 is like everyone wants to go home, you know. So,
true.
I think they just heard about Leech's, you know, green screen and whatnot. Everything. They were like, "Fuck, man," you know.
Who's jealous of Cyber's background? It's just another.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself on that one. Now, of course, you know, we do get sort of, I guess, you know, moving on with the episode, basically, right? We end up at a point where we do actually get the, you know, the rest of the team or the squad from Rebels that are left over, because of course the fact that Sabine is with, you know, sort of, I guess you could say, what's left of the, you know, the Empire, or the dark side or the bad guys, whatever, with Balin and with Ellsworth. We end up in the part where we essentially end up, you know, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, you know, and Jason Jr. End up basically going to that same sort of, I guess, Stonehenge looking, you know, spot there on the planet there, you know, on Talos or whatever. I have actually written down the name of the planet, but either way, bottom line, they end up getting back to that same spot where, you know, they have the rocks and everything and whatnot, where they were actually able to map out where Thrawn's at, his location. And Jason was able to actually use his Jedi powers, of course, being, you know, the son of a Jedi, and sort of determine or guide, right, Sindula, Commander Sindula, to find Sabine. We got, you know, a scene where we saw Wang, sort of like Wang morning or whatever.
Mr. H, come on,
people. Mr. H, warning, you know, sort of like, you know, Sabine, because they're both gone, right? Before we get the, you know, the Purrgil, where, you know, he's sort of mourning and like sort of, you know, I guess the whole point of it was supposed to be that they, you know, they should be together, right? Like, you know, like, you know, he sort of he mourns as good of a 20-year-old or 2,000-year-old bot can be. But essentially, you know, we end up in a place where Jason, you know, basically is able to use his Jedi powers. What'd you think, Andres? Did you enjoy the fact that they had the whole Jedi vibe at that point, basically through the whole episode, and that we had young Jason? You know, they displayed that he inherited the powers.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, we sort of saw that from last episode when you say he was with that Philly, but so but it was cool to see that his mother got the sense of that as well. So that was kind of cool. So that's very neat. I mean, you can see the kid becoming a Jedi, you know, just like his father. So that is a possibility in the nearest future. So, whatever that like happens, but like it's almost like setting up the kid to be the next Jedi and following the father's footsteps a little bit. You know, that's always a common theme in storytelling, and this show is doing that very, very good. And the kid was acting was good. As Cyber brought up like a couple episodes ago. Some kids actors are not always good or bad. I mean, this kid was okay, but I think his performance here was better, and it was at least decent. But Mary Wisdom, I was happy that she got more to do in this episode at least. Like I liked her conversation with Ahsoka. I like how she helps her friend, and breaking all the protocols of what her fleet is doing is just like it's great to see that this character still is loyal to Ahsoka and still a rightful, as she saying from the previous episode, or from the previous episode. So so all that really worked, and they're setting that up for various future Star Wars projects. So, but I was very happy to see more of the Mayor Wisdom character. So that's good.
Okay. Mr. Leech,
yes, sir.
As we sort of, move on, I guess, from the concept of sort of the the Ahsoka Anakin type deal, when then we get back into real time, we do get other things going on. Like we do get Jason, using his Jedi powers, being able to sort of assess and sort of connect with what we got with Ahsoka, sort of in a la when her, being able to recant the events of episode, I guess it was 1, right? Where she was able to use her ability to sort of like remember, or use or feel what occurred when Sabine was, stabbed. And of course the map was taken, right? At that point, did you enjoy, how they sort of did center on Commander Sindula, right? We did get, of course, the young actress is, of course, Ariana Greenblatt, right? That we'd be speaking of. That played the youngest Ahsoka. But did you enjoy how they sort of, they threw Chopper in there, right? We got Wong in there. We got some different combinations of the different characters. We got the Rebels characters in there, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
The Jedi factor, right? And sort of like Andres mentioned, the focusing in on, Mrs. Sindula.
Yeah, I can't say I'm super happy with Jason. I have an issue with like kid roles. Like I don't think they actually like play them all that great, and like it's tough to play a kid without. There you go. He rocked, but it's definitely hard for a kid to be believable that he's I don't know, maybe I'm just being partial, but that being said, I do like the fact that his future is going to be bright, as the character, not as the kid himself. But this series is coming out, Skeleton Crew. It's being labeled as Goonies in Space, or a version of Stranger Things. So I truly think that Jason Sindula is going to be one of the characters that's on this series. So and the fact that his name is Jason it just reminds me of when in the expanded universe, Jason Solo, same spelling as his name, becomes Darth Caedus, who goes to the dark side because he thinks that that's the best way to fix what's going wrong with the galaxy at the particular time. And his twin sister has to come and basically kill him to stop his reign, this dark side reign. So I have a feeling that Jason Sindula's future is not so bright. Since they're taking some things from the expanded universe and folding it into what's going on in the Disney era, I just think that the fact that his name is so similar to Jason Solo that good things are not coming in his future.
Jeez. That sounds grim.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
What do you think, Cyberneticshark? Did you enjoy, before we get to the Purrgil, did you enjoy, we did also, get, again, coming over from Star Wars lore in general and from The Mandalorian, Captain Carson, right? Paul San Huang Lee, right? Sort of joining in there, jumping in there, right? What'd you think, sir? Did you enjoy the Sindula team up and the Jedi vibe with the young Sindula?
Yeah, I mean, it was there was nothing bad about it. I thought it was very enjoyable. I thought it was cool showing, a younger person having Jedi abilities, showing that there still could be younglings out there. Versus, basically knowing that Anakin Skywalker killed everyone, becoming Darth Vader. So I think it's nice to see that contrast that, yes, the Jedi are still out there. They're still developing. They're still coming about. So I thought that was really done well. I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as, Commander or General Sindula is really fantastic. I've enjoyed her playing the character. And I thought that she, has done a really good job. I think that the camaraderie between her and the kid actor works really well. They really feel like, son and mother. And I thought that whole sequence where there was all the Jedi kind of talk and the Jedi kind of thought process was really fun to see the Jedi kind of name come back, and that there is a hope for more Jedi to come about and more Jedi to return, and maybe in the future see more Jedi again, even though that Order 66 killed majority of them. So I think that it was a really pleasure and really fun.
Great take, Cyber. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad you brought up Order 66. It's a good point. Honestly, Andre's taking that into consideration. I hadn't really thought about that. There are very few Jedi left, right? So,
yeah.
Right. I mean, whether you may not have cared for, I personally I didn't care for the whole. I thought it was cool when Ahsoka did her deal, found the broken fragmented map and was able to figure out where to go before they hooked up with the Purrgil. But did you at least appreciate the fact that there are young Jedi still?
I mean, well, if you haven't seen episode 3, there were still Jedi survive. Just they're hiding basically, and then there still are. If you haven't seen episode 3, plus if you haven't seen the Clone Wars and Rebels, that there's still Jedi out there. So yeah, it's not a big surprise. It's always been like that in Star Wars. Well, recently in Star Wars timeline, because in the original trilogy, you didn't know there was you didn't know how many survived, but in the prequel and then later on the expanded stuff, it's like, okay, there's a couple left, but it's the few in between, So, but yeah. But it's always fascinating if they take the route to becoming a Jedi. Remember, Leia was very force strong, force sensitive, but she didn't became she got trained to be a Jedi with Luke, I think, right? In some of the expanded stuff prior to the sequel trilogy, but she didn't become a Jedi. She became a general, just like some of her dad or whatever. So so we'll see where Jason's future is. I don't know if he will become the dark side. I just feel like they would probably just take the simple route is that he will become a Jedi just like his father before him. And look what I did there.
Okay.
Turner Jedi fans.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to even reel out the con, Jasmine. I'm not even going to skip. I'm not going to bother with you with this question. We already went around the panel with it. The Purrgil. Now, Ahsoka basically rejoining the the real time part of the episode where we have the Purrgil involved, right? We also have Mom Mothma. We have basically Commander Sindula being warned that the fleet's coming, Mon Mothma beams in and says, basically, we're here. We're sending the fleet to essentially pick up, not arrest, but basically, bring in you and Ahsoka because you, disobeyed the, the tribunal or whatever, whatnot that we had in episode. I guess what was it? 1 or 2? 2, I believe. And at that point, we get the Purrgil, right? And we get what is really some interesting, great, cinematography. I mean, in terms of this, really seeing them more, seeing them in numbers. I mean, there were hundreds of them almost. It seemed like. What'd you think of the whole Purrgil deal? The fact that essentially, right, we already have Mon Mothma popping up again, and we've got the fleet coming, right? So we've got some. I felt like there was some real tension building up there in the episode when they added that in there. And what'd you think of this? The whole Ahsoka. I don't know the hell with what it was, communicating with the Purrgil or whatever, or standing on top of the ship or whatever. I thought it was actually kind of stupid, to be honest with you. I like to see the Purrgil's mouth open up, or whatever the hell that was. But what'd you think of the Purrgil scenes? And then the whole, dichotomy or deal with sort of the fleet opening up, right, to make space for them, and then seeing them actual sized up versus the fleet.
What are you talking to me?
Yes, Mr. Kaufman.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I confused you because I used Khan and Jassim in the same.
Okay. Let's start off with when the fleet had to encounter the Purrgil. I was very surprised the Purrgil didn't decide to just ram through them like how they did in Rebels in the series finale. That's like one of the first things we got to keep in mind, because the Purrgil, with any other ships, even Hera says this in Rebels, like they just don't think. They just like go through. Like they don't care if there's a ship. They just go through the ship. And Hera lost a lot of friends back then because the Purrgil go into the hyperspace lanes and just destroy her friends' ships. The Purrgil doesn't know if Hera's friends are like the good people or the bad people. And here it's like the Purrgil have never seen these ships before, but why did they avoid these ships? Like, what happened? I'm very curious about that. As for Ahsoka, being able to communicate with the Purrgil to where like she would literally like go inside that big guy's mouth. It reminds me of a scene in Avatar 2 where the guy literally goes inside the whale's mouth just to learn the whale's history. But here, she's just telling the whale, hey, I just want to go see Ezra, which is very unique and we've never seen before. There's a lot to be discovered with the Purrgil.
All right, well, Mr. Rathakan, you need a dip. Would you like to go ahead and give us our rating for the episode? And I guess any final thoughts?
Okay, rating for the episode would be a 7 out of 10.
Ouch.
You're hurting your condo roommate's feelings over here.
yeah. Don't come on my side of the house, okay?
Okay, and you don't come to my side of the house.
No, I respect your opinion. I don't understand it, but I respect it.
Okay, I will give it. Okay, the other episodes, I was able to focus and not, look at my phone or go chit chat with my parents while I'm watching. Yeah. This one, it's like I got very distracted while watching it. It's just not that interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of like how you distracted me during that blowjob the other day, Jay.
Yeah, right.
That's why I give it 7 out of 10.
It got the job done, but yeah, it wasn't a 10 out of 10.
It was not 10 out of 10.
I'm with you, brother.
As I don't know, that good ass head was 10 out of 10. I can tell you right now.
Okay, and then final thoughts. Okay, firstly, Leech, why would you say And I heard this while I was washing the dishes earlier, that you think Jason Sindula has a bright future just because of whatever you read in the expanded universe. Like, dude.
No, nothing. No. Meaning not bright future, but like
Such a terrible future.
Yeah, because the name recognition, Jason Solo was Darth Cadus, and he went to the dark side, and there's too many similarities to not have him be that person, or at least the Disney version of that person.
But he wasn't the one that like killed all these Padawans in episode 7, or is it 7? No, 8. The Last Jedi.
All right, we can't be having any roommate scrabbles or whatever.
yeah. I'm gonna go shower and sleep.
Go shower, Mr. Real the Con. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
And in about 10 years, when they finally get this story flushed out, then we can circle back and see if who's right and who's wrong.
10 years. Okay, 10 years it is. All right,
brother. Good night.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. There you go, folks. Mr. Real the Con, a la Jassim, my younger brother, my little brother, over on the insane, crazy state that should fall off the actual USA. It may possibly happen, as geologists, I believe, have actually predicted. We'll have to see. Or they can just take Silicon Valley off the map. But we'll see. Either way, Cyberneticshark, sir. Overall, in terms of the Purrgil, did you like how they shot them? Did you enjoy the use of them in the episode? Did you enjoy, the sort of way they were used? How they were filmed? I loved seeing them sized up against the fleet. I loved it.
Honestly, I had never heard of the Purrgils before, or I don't recall hearing about them before. So this is my first time seeing them. So like I said, haven't read any books or anything, so I didn't know about them. Space whales, basically what they are. And I definitely think they were interesting looking. That was the one thing that like I said earlier, that I just thought was kind of odd to have these space creatures, these whales, be able to hyperjet to where supposedly they hyperjet with this giant machine they created. So I thought that was a bit odd for these creatures, but they were interesting looking. They were fun. I do agree that sizing them up with the fleet was a cool idea. You could definitely see that one main Purrgil itself was super huge, was as big as the, kind of main starship itself. And I thought, the whole concept where, Ahsoka used her powers to make the creature open its mouth and then fly in with her cool ship was really cool. And I thought it was an interesting way to end it, basically, that these creatures are able to do light speed. So I'm not, like I said, I don't know anything about these creatures. I don't know if this is something they said in the book that they do or in previous things or whatever. But I found the concept very interesting, but at the same time kind of odd that this is the direction they went to be able to get to, where supposedly, the big ship and that big ship with the bad guys ended up going. So very interesting though looking. They kind of almost took it to where they made them look like whales, but they gave them kind of like those long tentacle type things, making them a little more creature like, a little bit more alien, which I thought was kind of cool. And definitely really well conceived and made for the screen. They looked really flawless. The CGI work was really done well, and it was, like I said, very interesting.
Andres, would you like to kind of just break down? Do you know about the Purrgil?
Yes, I mean, I heard of it, but not too much. So, like, it was pretty cool to see it in the flesh. And I thought, speaking of the Purrgils, I thought that they were very good in live action. I thought the special effects was very neat, like very flawless. That's the one thing we haven't brought up. I thought they were spot on from the cartoons. You see them. Yeah, kudos for the special effects people. So it was very neat. So I was very surprised and very impressed.
Most definitely, and honestly, we don't really know that much about the Purrgil. We don't, right, Leech? I mean, we know they have to do with Ezra's ability to, take Thrawn into the unknown regions of, space, basically, right?
Right.
Through, and that's basically that's the gist of how, we end up with Ahsoka basically sort of ending the episode with, being asked essentially, before, Commander, duel, Commander, Duala, Sindula actually says and closes out the episode with a awesome Star Wars line. May the Force be with you, right?
Yeah.
Always. Great, like one-shot lines in this episode, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, before we get to that point, I mean, the Purrgil basically, they're how Ahsoka kind of says, well, I didn't really know what the hell was going on with all that, but we should just follow them. Why not?
Yeah.
Right? Would we don't know much about the Purrgil. All we know is they're sort of the byway, or that they have to do with getting to this region.
Yeah. So the Purrgil can travel faster than light speed. And so Morgan
Ellsworth,
yeah, was having the people in Corellia to build all these hyperspace drives. So for that ring, it was going to be a super hyperspace. They can get to that other galaxy, whereas normal ships could not. Same as the Purrgil, which they introduced in Rebels. And Ezra had this connection through the Force to talk to the Purrgils, telepathically, or however you want to say it. And he knew what he needed to do, and he needed to eliminate Thrawn. And so he kind of just grabbed him and just, sent this message out to the Purrgils, get us out of here. And then boom, they were just gone. So if you watch Rebels, you knew what the Purrgils could do, what they were capable of. So when Ahsoka was speaking to them, it's kind of like the same thing that Ezra did. She just, communicated with them. And it was probably like, hey, you knew my buddy, take me to where he is now. And
I like an unspoken kind of thing.
Yeah.
A select force ability.
Exactly. So the Purrgil obliged and got her to where, sorry, I'm spilling the beans on the next episode, but so the Purrgil knew where exactly to go and all this good stuff, and just accepted her into his mouth. Very Pinocchio vibes.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I thought it was possible that maybe the Purrgil were taking him to Luthen's sex shop in Andor.
Maybe.
But either way, I'm just a pop culture guy, sir. The finale of the end of the episode, where we do get Ahsoka again, sort of exit, a spacecraft, get out there, whatnot, communicate with the Purrgil. What was your feel for that? Right? Do you think that was an unspoken word kind of thing that maybe, as we just discussed, is sort of just a specific force ability that she kind of, tests into Rebels, where with Ezra she's able to, just sort of interpret or guess, or somehow kind of with the Purrgil, were you happy with sort of the ending of the episode, in terms of, how to whatnot?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised about doing that. So I thought that was a really surprise way to use the Purrgil to travel. Like I wasn't expecting that for Ahsoka to do that way. I thought they were going to do something to build like another hyperdrive ship for the good guys maybe, and use the Purrgils as the needs of resources. But no, I was kind of surprised they did that. So very good. It was a good way to end in a very positive note. Remember, because last episode we kind of ended in a very Empire Strikes Back kind of way, because the heroes kind of lost last episode.
Yeah.
Here it's kind of like bouncing back from that defeat, So that like it did what it needed to be to give you that good feel, and like heading towards the next episode is very excited.
That's a great point, Cyber. What do you think about that? Do you think that this is a great sort of bounce back from episode 4? We did kind of like they didn't just it wasn't just a simple the good guys get their ass beat. It was literally Ahsoka. We don't know what the hell's going on with her, and then on top of that, Sabine either completely willingly or maybe somehow in some way influenced by whatever would be coming from Balin, and possibly Ellsworth in terms of their abilities, with her being a knight, a night sister, Balin being, sort of not a dark Jedi, but not a good Jedi. Were you happy with the finale, and did you feel like it was a good, episode coming off of episode 4?
It was a really good episode coming off of episode 4. I thought it accompanied it very well, and I think that definitely these last 2 episodes have been really fantastic, have really made the series even more enjoyable, and they really complemented each other. As to Balin and all this kind of stuff, just like with any Star Wars stories, I feel there's always that one fallen Jedi or several people that they used to be good, they've fallen to the dark side, and then they kind of redeem themselves. And I mean, that's just obvious from the get-go, from the beginning of this series. Balin's going to come back at some point and realize what he's doing is stupid. And so I definitely think that that's already in the works. That's already something that we'll see. If not, then definitely I'm sure he'll have a martyr's death of some sort. And I think that the apprentice will definitely will kind of get more eviler as the time goes on too, as well. I think that she'll fall more to the dark side. But overall, I think how it works for the, these last two episodes, it's a really great story arc, because I think he made a very interesting point in the last episode saying, we're both striving for something. We're both looking for something, and we can help each other get to that. And I think that that's a perfect point of why I'm saying that he probably will have some kind of redemption arc, is because of that fact of that he's searching for something too, because he's lost, and that's why he's become kind of like the in-between of a Jedi and a Sith. And so I think that in the writing, we should be seeing some sort of like that come to full tuition. So, I think that all that kind of information as it goes by is very interesting and fun. And I think eventually at the end, it'll have a great conclusion.
I think so too. I mean, I'm really enjoying the series so far overall. I think it's been very well done. Regardless of who's directed each episode. Andres, as we wait for Jay to pop back on here, your thoughts, sir, before we, kind of do our ratings and whatnot and plug and get out of here. Your thoughts so far through the episode, we got three more episode reviews to go, folks. Through episode 5, Andres, are you enjoying Ahsoka? Are you happy with it? Is it delivering, something good for you?
Yeah, it's been good so far. So they haven't really dropped the ball, which is good. Like by episode 4 is where the show gets kind of in trouble, but not really for Ahsoka. I think it's been so far good, which is a good thing. So, compared to other Disney Plus shows, so I think this is so far the strongest. I'm not naming one, Secret Invasion. But anyway, so yes, so it's so far good.
Well, you know what? Honestly, Andres, I can't say anything about you mentioned Secret Invasion, so I'm still talking about She-Hulk. 17 years later, 0.75 Cyber. Either way, Cyber, how do you feel, sir? Through 5 episodes, I don't see how this thing can really fall apart at all. I mean, you see this not working out through a full season. Why haven't they told us and greenlit a second season of this show? Do you think at all? I mean, don't you think that Ahsoka kind of deserves one?
Well, just like with any show, they're seeing how it's going to fold out, because unfortunately, as we have seen now in the last 3 years, a lot of the shows have kind of gone downhill. Mandalorian season 3 wasn't as good. The Book of Boba Fett didn't do too well. Andor did okay. It got greenlit for a second season. It was a little more on the up and up. But pretty much anything Star Wars, because of, unfortunately, Kathleen Kennedy's push, has just been kind of garbage that, most viewers have chosen to call it.
Yeah.
And so I think that they're waiting to see how well the whole series does overall before they greenlight it. And also, don't forget, a lot of these people that are in this, especially like Rosario Dawson, they're definitely busy actors. They have a lot that they're doing. So that also, it will take time to be able to do a second season as well. But at the same time, I think because of the backlash of what's gone on for the last 3 years, I think is the reason why they haven't just greenlit a second season. Also, we don't know how it's going to wrap up, if it's going to kind of wrap up the whole Ahsoka, kind of storyline for this moment till they decide to do something else. But, I think overall, with how good this has been, I mean, it slowly has gotten better and better with each episode. And I don't foresee it doing any harm, especially with Dave Filoni behind it, because he has proven that if you have the right writers, you have the right mindset and what to bring to this, you can have a successful Star Wars, story from the Disney era. And so I think that it's very possible that this probably is going to be the best Star Wars series to date after this is concluded. It just is so well done. And the money that they put into this to make it look so good with all the scenes. I mean, every single sequence has had very amazing graphics, amazing CGI, animatronics, everything about it has been very flawlessly put together to make it a really fantastic series. And another fact is that finally we're getting a Star Wars story that doesn't have a hidden agenda entitled into it. This is all about just Ahsoka. It's about Star Wars. It doesn't have some stupid woke agenda stuck to its ass. That's what has screwed every other series over too, besides the writing.
Andor. That's why Andor, even though Andor didn't make money, right? They still greenlit a second season.
Yeah, that one definitely had less of that writing as well. It definitely had more of a Star Wars feel, and it had the production value too behind it. And I think that's another reason why Ahsoka is doing so well, is because they actually put the money behind it. It wasn't all put to the stars. It was put into the actual production itself as well. Because I don't feel that some of the previous seasons of different Star Wars things have had as good of graphics and as good a story as this series has had. And even Andor it had some really good writers too as well. I think that those two series alone are starting to finally try to revitalize what Star Wars needs to be again, what it should have been up to the start of those prequel films, or sequel films I should say. It definitely needed to have that boost again to get people reinserted into wanting more from Star Wars again. And over the last few years, that has declined really rapidly because of what they've done. And so, just like with pretty much any of the productions for the last 3 years, a lot of things have not done well because of how stupid they have been in what they have been putting out there. And thankfully, Ahsoka has proven not to be that same garbage that they've been putting out. So that's been nice for it. But if I had to giving my rating, definitely a 10 on this episode. Definitely so far, this is my favorite episode.
I'm glad you said that. And you know what? As far as the writers' strike goes, they can go fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned. All of them, but like they bared their own fucking coffin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, in all reality, Andres, I hate to tell you, man, but like in all reality, like I don't know what the fuck they're bitching about. They write a bunch of bullshit and whatnot. Everything they want to strike. But don't get me wrong, folks. Anybody who pays attention to the Hollywood and to the entertainment industry knows that they do this rotationally, like every couple, 5 years, we have these strikes. But right now, it's almost pathetic. I mean, I've seen some videos on YouTube where like they're talking about interviewing some of these people. They're delusional, right? Like, literally, like, I mean, some of these people who literally like are acting like they're literally being caged by She-Hulk. right now. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, though, there are other writers that have been mistreated, right? There's other people out there that have, been mistreated and have been, not done correctly by heads of shows, by people that, in charge. So it's not everybody. Don't get me wrong. I want to be balanced here. There's people out there that, where with the strike, I get it. But Andres, what are you rating, sir? Would you agree with Cyber? This is a 10 for 10 on you, or are you really like mine lately? So what do you think?
Nah, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was good. I mean, it wasn't top tier Ahsoka episode with the 4 episodes, so it was pretty good. But you're speaking about the actors, the strike. Let's kind of be serious here. Like, it's not really about that. It's also about their income and their health care, and that's in danger. And plus, because technology. Because remember,
Yes,
they're bringing up AIs that they can replace the daily actors that are in the background. Like, they want to not give them the proper day pay fee, and that's not good. And also with with streaming, people need to get those residuals, and that's something that they're holding back. And that's the issue with the top CEOs. They need to pay the writers and actors because they're the ones that are making these projects work, and that's the issue right now. And so the CEOs are very stubborn, and so that's why a lot of YouTubers saying pay, like, support and and fund these people, because
I agree with you, Andres. Honestly, I was just messing with you, man. Without writers, we don't have shows to cover, right? Like, it's that simple. So I mean, like, again, I loved Andor. You know that Andor is the reason why we're covering. Why I wanted to do Ahsoka. Why we decided to do it. Whatnot was Andor, the Mandalorian, right? Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, right? Good writing is good writing. It is what it is. You have to have it. It's something we have to have. Now, Mr. Leech had to depart, and I apologize, Jay. I don't know what was going on with the cats there or whatnot. It's Melissa's Hania vibes going on there for a minute. What's up, Alexis? Love you over here. What's up, Art Rutledge? But no, the bottom line, no, Andres, I agree with you 100%. There's other shit going on and whatnot with the whole deal. There is. It's not just that simple of an economy. But Cyber makes a good point as well. The woke bullshit, don't play. And, I think we all would agree that in Ahsoka, at least, we ain't got no woke stuff. Andres, now, sir, again, are we going to have a 9, a 10? Or are we going to be... Oh, an 8. Oh, we're going 8 with... Oh, an 8.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. So.
All right, Mr. Leach dropped a 10 for him. Jay, we appreciate you on the show. You dropped a 10. Cyber dropped a 10. I'm going to drop a 10 too. I think this episode deserves a 10. Without question. Great episode. Thank you, Dave Filoni. Andres, do you think Dave Filoni sort of kind of is bringing back Star Wars?
I mean, Star Wars has been kind of consistent. Like, they always have their ups and downs. That's the thing. This reminder, Star Wars never have put out a lot of content like they did before previously. So, but compared to other franchise, it's not as bad. I think people are seeing or saying, like at least we got Endor and this, and then the first 2 seasons of Mandalore. So yeah, so we're in a good spot with Star Wars. It's not as bad as, like, say, the MCU or DCEU, all that.
No, I agree. Cyber, would you agree too? I mean, right now, I think Star Wars is, for me anyways, enjoyment factor. I'm loving what we're getting. Not, I mean, Mandalorian season 3 is what it is, but I'm saying in general, if you want to contrast, as Andre said, DC, MCU, I'm enjoying the stuff that Star Wars is doing.
Like I said before, Star Wars is starting to get its groove back. And we've seen that with Andor and with this series. So, I mean, like I said, I think, yes, it's definitely on the upward for Star Wars.
It's a very interesting dichotomy. It really is, to be honest with you. Because this whole Mandoverse deal came together kind of loosely. It wasn't Kevin Feige style, which we'll talk down the road. But it is interesting to me that they kind of just threw this together. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. How if it ends up being films, how they end up playing it. More another season of Ahsoka. I like it's a great call, Cyber. They're getting their groove back. It's good to see, folks. We really enjoyed having you tonight. Cyberneticshark, Jay Leech, Rio at the Con, Mr. Onions Pop Culture Guy. Love you, brother. Cyber, love you, brother. Appreciate having on. Looking forward to Ball Rats on Friday. Looking forward to coming to America next Saturday. William from the Geek On podcast will be on with us. Should be a blast. Great movie to review. Of course, we have Ahsoka episode 6 next Wednesday. And next Monday, Dare This in episode 3. Great series. Loki rewatch, re-review episode 4. Coming off of, what was episode 3 titled? Andres, what is that planet they're on?
Lamentis.
Lamentis.
Yeah. We did that last Monday.
Cyber, wasn't Lamentis, when we reviewed Lamentis, wasn't that like the least, everybody was more disappointed with Lamentis than any episode of the series? Episode 3?
What?
Of Loki season 1. Wasn't that sort of the one where everybody pretty much didn't like that episode out of the 6 that we got?
Is that the one where they're on the ocean planet?
Where they're on the planet that's going to be apocalyptic and still be Loki?
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode, but yeah, I think the majority of the consensus, they didn't care for it.
No. I liked it too. I thought it was good. I don't have to look back and see what the ratings were on that one, but I enjoyed it too. I thought it was a great episode. But we appreciate you folks. We're going to do plugs. We get out of here. Ahsoka episode 5 closed out. Moving forward. Cyberneticshark, sir, if you want to start. What have you going on, sir? I'll pull you up right on the screen share. Thank you, StreamYard. We appreciate you. What is going on in Cyberneticshark, the actual YouTube channel, and as a content creator yourself, sir?
All right, folks. So if you have checked me out at all, if you haven't checked me out, definitely go to Cyberneticshark under YouTube. You'll find me there. If you want to see my solo content that's different from the MCU's Bleeding Edge. As you can see, my most recent reviews up are the Equalizer 3 and Gran Turismo. Definitely check those out. Equalizer 3 was really fantastic. I have more reviews coming up. You'll see a few other ones. Haunted Mansion coming up. I'll be having definitely reviews for A Haunting of Venice and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, just keep on knocking. Let's keep getting that subscriber count up. Still 4 away from the magic 700 mark at least. And as you can see there, done a couple mini reviews there for you guys of certain films that have recently come out and some ones I've just recently watched. The Black Demon, movie from this year about Megalodon again. Definitely worth a watch if you're looking for something that's like high quality, but also at the same time horrible. Interesting film. Only one really big no name in it too, which was funny. But yeah, definitely check out my shorts there. I got Nightmare on Elm Street's going on there, The Nuns, Matrixes, all that kind of stuff. Roadhouse review, stuff like that. So yeah, just keep on plugging.
The Matrixes, baby. Love it. Most definitely.
Keep on adding and subscribing. And if you subscribe, don't forget, currently, if you subscribe and let us know on one of our videos, Ahsoka reviews, you'll be getting gift cards if you are keeping all that good stuff, people.
There you go, Cyber. And as you and I have personally spoken, I am finally I've gotten out of my bot tank long enough to be able to restore myself through Boba Fett to a point where I'll be able to fulfill those gift card dedicated 1,000 subscriber at the end of the year contracts that I have, you and I engraved with She-Hulk together. Right, so I can make sure that I have to give head, to other dudes. to 1,000 by the end of the year. I apologize for that, folks. Anyways, I'm just a culture guy. I've got you pulled up too, sir. I, of course, have made no agreement with you regarding any head I'll be giving to any, maybe aliens for you, sir.
Yeah, aliens.
In the time dimension, I will do that. I'm just a pop culture guy, sir. What channel would you like to start with? Would you like to start with DC Marvel Plus Talk? Or,
yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Have at it, sir.
Sure. Hello, everyone. It's me, Andreas Diaz. Sorry for showing my face. Just not doing well with my allergies. So, yeah, I want to thank you all for supporting me and bear with me with the shows right now. So I'm up to 426 subscribers for the second channel. So hopefully tomorrow I'll post something. But yeah. So I really appreciate you guys' help. So just bear with me with my allergies. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna go to the next channel.
Hey, you know what, Andres? You're working hard, man. You're making a lot of content. You're doing a lot of shows, and you just got a new job. Hey, brother, you need a massage.
God.
If anybody's one, it's you, Andres. All right, I'm just a pop culture guy. Channel presents.
Yeah, so now this channel, the first channel for mine, is up to 800 subscribers. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, so tonight I'm going to post something for a Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol review, so check that out soon after this show. Yeah, so I recently posted a X-Men comic read. You guys can read it, part 3 of the comic run called Skimmish. It's a good comic so far, so I really enjoy. And of course, 2 days ago I did top 8 favorite Lois and Clark villains. Check that out. And of course, I did a Bane birthday tribute to Tom Hardy's version in Dark Knight Rises. So check that out.
Oof, I like that. I thought I'd love Tom Hardy, just not as Venom. I don't see where else it would go. And I'll be honest with you, we'll have to talk at some point down the road about what's Sony gonna do with this writer's strike and everything and whatnot and everything. Like what's their deal gonna be? There's still got Craven coming out. Should be interesting, right?
Next year.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
And Venom 3 is scheduled for next year, but then that's kind of iffy because they didn't. I don't remember. I think they were shooting or wrap. I don't know what was going on with them. So yeah,
I've heard a lot of rumors. I'm not really sure on that, to be honest with you. I'm still interested in seeing how they're going to handle Tom Holland overall with Spider-Man. We'll see.
I don't know. They're a mess, Sony. I don't know what they're going to do with the Spider-Man thing.
They've got owning the rights to Spider-Man is their piece of gold. That's their chip.
Yeah.
But folks, we're out of here. Heads up to everybody out there. Please, we really enjoy all your support. Please support Cyberneticshark. Please support Andres. Jay Leech, we appreciate you. Jason, love you, little brother. Folks, God bless you. Have a wonderful Thursday. Have a great work day. Come see us on Friday. We're doing Mallrats. Cyber's moderating. My first time ever seeing it. All right. This will be a dope-ass review. We'll see you later. Peace. May the force be with you.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard.